Hi everyone, I wanted to record this video today to share my experience with Vulvodynia, and it's actually quite recent, and I will ask you for your patience because I'm not used to recording videos, plus is a quite emotional story, a personal story for me to share, and it's quite recent as well. So, and it's probably going to be the first one that I'm really talking through everything that happened, leading to me getting better and healing myself. So I will really try to not forget key elements, and to also to try to explain myself as clearly as possible. Also, English is not my first language, as you probably may have noticed as well. So when I do get a little bit nervous and emotional, it makes it even more difficult for me to be able to express myself in English. So I do apologize for that as well. So, but anyway, let me dive into my story. So I am, sorry, I actually forget sometimes how old I am, but I am 38 years old, and I was diagnosed with vulvodynia last year in 2021, and I had already turned 38 years, and I never had any issues of that sort before in the past. I never had issues having sex. I never had issues, gynecological major gynecological issues. So it all kind of started really out of the blue. To be more precise, it all started in October last year, 2021. And it started with me just having what I thought it was the symptoms of having a vaginal infection or a urinary tract infection, something like that. And as I started having those symptoms, I contacted my GP, and I did some exams as well. I did a urine test and just some tests. I don't think I actually had I don't think I actually had any test apart of the urinary test. But my GP, he prescribed me with antibiotics even before receiving the urinary test results back, because all the symptoms I had indicated that I had a urinary infection or some sort of infection. So I started taking the antibiotics, and just backtracking, the symptoms I had were literally just a little bit of a burning sensation, constant need or feeling of needing to pee, and it just wouldn't go away. And first I tried some natural herbs and some natural remedies, because to be honest, I do prefer trying the natural route first, but that wasn't working out. So then I decided to contact my GP, and just wanted to say I do not advise anyone to do that, and I advise you for your first point of contact to be your GP. I decided to do the herbal route first, just because I do have people I know that have some knowledgement in that area. But anyway, so I start taking antibiotics. The antibiotics seemed to be helping in the beginning, and it really eased up my symptoms for the first few days. But then so I did a 7-day course of antibiotics, and after I stopped antibiotics, it all came back. All the symptoms came back again, as intense as before. So during that time, my urinary results came back, and they were saying that it didn't show anything, but I still had the symptoms. So I went to a sexual health clinic. I did all sorts of exams, STD exams, tests, and again, they all came back clear, so there was nothing to show why would I been having those symptoms. So obviously it was quite stressful because I didn't know what was going on. And during this time, when I was taking antibiotics and doing all these tests, so 1 month just went by like that, me trying to find out what was going on. And obviously the more time was going by, the more I was getting worried because I didn't know what was going on. I knew something was wrong and I didn't know what was wrong. So, and I was getting worried that because I was not getting the treatment I needed, that whatever it was actually getting worse. So my main concern was obviously that would affect my fertility, because I'm still not a mother, and so I was really worried. Anyway, I went to the sexual health clinic. I saw a doctor there. I saw my GP, and no one really knew what was going on. They did exams. They looked down there, and they could not find anything wrong. During that time as well, I just bought one of those tests in the pharmacy that you can perform yourself at home. And in one of those tests, it showed that I might had vaginal infection. I think first it was thrush. It showed that I had thrush, and then I showed that I had a possible bacterial vaginosis. Looking back, I think that I probably developed thrush after taking the antibiotics, because the antibiotics, they do suppress your immune system. They kill the bad bacteria, but they also kill the good bacteria. So, and is often the case of women after being on antibiotics developing infection down there. So I developed the infection, and at the time I didn't know, but that was actually not the cause of my burning sensation, but the symptoms I was having for one of 2 months at that point. But anyway, then I bought the cream to treat the thrush, and I started using the cream. It was not helping in any way. The cream didn't help in any way. I still felt the burning sensation that was getting worse as I was sitting down. And I was just getting desperate. So I used that cream. I think you're supposed to use for 7 or 10 days, but I end up using for longer than that because it just wouldn't go away. And that was a big mistake. And I just didn't know what to do. I kept on using it. And then alongside that, I also started doing some research online, and I found this tea tree oil, tea tree gel to use for your genitalia. And I started using that tea tree gel, thinking that would help. And then, so I was using that in combination with the thrush cream, and then start using the tea tree gel. And then, and at the end, there was also one day when I've decided to do a wash with some apple cider vinegar, because I had seen online that was also good. So, you know, at the time I was just tired, I was desperate, and I thought to give it a go. So that was a huge mistake when I used the apple cider vinegar with water. And when I did the wash, I literally just immediately felt a huge, as if I had burned myself. It was this awful burning, as if the burning went not only from on the outside in on the labia, vaginal labia, but also inside. So I just remember that after I did that wash, I just came out of the bathroom, and I was in so much pain that I just lie down in my bed, and I just thought, oh my God, what have I done? So I just lie down in a lot of pain and not knowing what to do. And, you know, I was calling 999 as well and trying to get help, but no one really seemed to know what to do. And they just keep on telling me that I have to talk with my GP. That's not an emergency. That's not case for emergency. Anyway, it was really stressful. It was a really stressful time. And I was so desperate. So after that episode with the apple cider vinegar, the symptoms just got worse. So just trying to remember what happened at the time. But so that was around November, December. So having the symptoms have started in October. So just going to tell you a little bit about the symptoms. So the symptoms were just these, which started with a slight burning sensation, and the need to pee all the time. And as it progressed, it got worse, and then the burning increased, and I became highly sensitive to even wearing underwear or wearing any tight clothing. I found really hard to sit for more than 5 minutes. And normally the only time when I will not feel anything, I would not feel any burning, any pain, was when I was sleeping. I would feel during the day. Often I would wake up without no sensation at all, which was great. But then as the day would progress, then the burning would increase. And it was really awful because it was really hard to focus in anything. Luckily, I was actually working from home at the time, so I could have a lot of breaks throughout the day and just lie down in bed to compose myself. I was able to also work in my computer, in my laptop, standing up. And that really helped, because I don't know if I would be able to cope having to work in office. So it was an absolute nightmare. And trying to think if there is anything that might be beneficial for you to hear about and for me to share. Let me just look into my notes. So anyway, you know, it was really awful. It was really awful. I thought I was going crazy at the time. It really had a toll on my mental health. I really thought I was never going to be able to have sex ever again in my life. It was just horrible. So my partner was really supportive and understanding, and thankfully for that. But he would not be my partner if he wasn't supportive, really, to be honest. But anyway, so, and I think what was the most frustrating thing at the time was that a lot of the times, like the doctors, and I went to few doctors and I had few appointments, and no one really seemed to know what was going on. And I also had a gynecologist appointment, and I was so upset. I was really upset because it was just really dismissive, and he just told me to wait. So when I went to this gynecologist appointment, I had already been with those symptoms for like 3 months. Yeah, 3 months and a half. I think I had the appointment in January. And the only thing he told me was just to wait, because he said that he could not see anything that was wrong. Everything seemed to be fine down there. And it was better for me to just wait. So I was just, it didn't even, it didn't even tell me what he thought it could be. It didn't even tell me what could I do to make it better. I was just so upset. I didn't even argument with him. I just left. I was just so tired and upset. Also, it really broke my heart because I was waiting for so long for that appointment. And yeah, anyway, it was really disgusting. So I left that appointment that day, and actually even before that appointment with gynecologist, I had an appointment with the doctor from the sexual health clinic, and the doctor told me that I might have vulvodynia. So at the time when she told me that, I had already came across some articles online about vulvodynia. So when she told me that she thought I might have that, it didn't caught me by surprise, because I was already suspecting that could be the case. But anyway, after all of that, I just came home, and the more I researched about the condition, the more I started realizing that vulvodynia really just a label that most of the doctors they gave, they put onto your symptoms. And the thing is that the symptoms that you have, the root of the issue could be a variety of things, but they just put everything under the label of vulvodynia. And when they don't really know, I think they just use that when they don't really know what is causing the pain, the burning sensation, and they just label it as vulvodynia, because then you have a diagnosis. So at the time I decided, you know what, this is not going to be me. I could see testimonies of people online, women online, that had been living with this condition for years, and they were still struggling, and they just went from doctor to doctor. No one could give them an answer, no one could help them. And I just thought, you know what, it's not going to be me. I'm not going to allow myself to live with this for years and years, and I'm not going to let this ruin my life, because it was already ruining my mental health. I had the risk as well. He had the risk as well of ruining my relationship, of course, because sex is such an important part in a relationship. And not only that, not only sex, but I was not really feeling myself lately. I didn't really have joy in life, because every day I had this horrible feeling as if I'm being burnt inside and outside all day, every day. So it was awful. So I just made a decision, whatever it takes, I'm going to really heal myself. So I started researching. It took a lot of my time. All of my spare time was just reading about everything I could find online, doing my own research. And I started doing certain things that it helped at the time. I'm not sure how much each of those single things helped, because I was doing them all at the same time. So sometimes it's hard to know if there was a single thing that really helped. But I think it was all of the things together. So I will just share with you. I also just wanted to say that also in regarding to the symptoms, I also noticed that the symptoms, the burning sensation, would get worse when I was stressed and when I was tired. So one of the things I've started doing was definitely I've started managing my stress levels, which is quite hard when you're dealing with those kind of symptoms. But I started to try and manage my stress levels and to have some relaxation throughout the day, every day. So the things that I've started doing that really helped, one of the first things was to buy a pillow, a donut-shaped pillow. I actually have it here. So this one really helped. So you can see here, this is where your legs go. And this is the front of the pillow, and that's the back. That's where your coccyx go. So that takes the pressure off your coccyx and off your vaginal area. So this pillow really helped me because, like I mentioned before, one of the main issues I was having was to remain seated for more than 5 minutes because it was really difficult. So that really helped me to sit for a bit longer periods of time. And then I was even taking this pillow with me sometimes to restaurants because, you know, with that I could not even go to cinema, I could not go to a pub, I could not go to a restaurant. There was so much that I could not do. It really ruined a lot of my social life as well because I could not do a lot of things. And so with this pillow, it really helped me to have a little bit of my life back, at least my social life. And yeah, sometimes it was embarrassing, but you know what? I was just like, I don't care. I'm not gonna just stay at home or suffer. I'd rather be embarrassed and do whatever I can to live my life as normally as possible. So I was taking that pillow with me to places. There was another pillow I bought, a part of this one. I bought one that is like a square, but the square one, I don't actually have it with me because I sent it back. The square one, I bought it, didn't really help at all. I felt that it actually was a bit too thick and it made it worse. So definitely the donut-shaped one was the best for me, the best option for me. I also start doing some mindfulness exercises. There was a really, really good mindfulness vagal nerve guided meditation that really helped me. And I will put a link down below on the video. And the great thing about that guided meditation was that there was no need to have my eyes closed to go really inwards, because I was finding it really hard. I've always meditated, I've always practiced mindfulness, but I was finding it really hard to do any sort of meditation or mindfulness at the time, because the pain was so intense. It was really hard to take your mind away from it. So that guided meditation really helped. And I also start doing some vagal nerve exercises, and I will put a link about vagal nerve, where you can find more explanation about vagal nerve and what it is, and the kind of exercise that I did, and just a very brief explanation, because I don't want to really divert too much of the subject of this video. But the vagal nerve, the exercises that I've done has to do with healing trauma and resetting your nervous system. So I will tell you a little bit more about, in the end, about some trauma that I went through before, just before Vulvodynia happened, that I feel that might also have contributed physically and emotionally for the issue that I had. So those vagal nerve exercises, I did them as a way to heal my traumatic experience that I've been through before, because I feel that a lot of times a lot of the physical issues, misalignments that we might have, they derive from traumatic experiences, from difficult emotions that somehow our psychic was not able to process it, and then it ends up expressing itself through our physical body. So I've also started counseling at the time, because, like I said, I really felt like I was going mad, and it was really hard to talk about what I was going through with other people, because I think you don't really understand how much it affects you if you don't really go through it. So I just felt that probably my friends would not really understand fully what I was going through, and also I didn't want to bore them with my issues. So I started counseling. That really helped, just to be able to talk with someone about my fears and the hardship I was going through. I started doing visualization, and that really helped me a lot, just to motivate me to keep going, and to encouraging me to keep looking for a solution, and not to settle down for the diagnosis, that the label that they put on me. So I started visualizing myself as healed, as enjoying myself again, as doing things that I had stopped doing, like going to the cinema, going to restaurants, going to cafe, having sex, having an amazing time with my partner, amazing intimate time with my partner. So I start visualizing that, and that really helped me, encourage me to keep going. I started also a low oxalate diet, and that's something that I came across online. Some people that felt that being on a low oxalate diet helped them with their vulvodynia. To be honest, I'm not sure if it helped me at all, the low oxalate diet. It was really quite frustrating as well, because I'm already a vegetarian, so also going on a low oxalate diet was really, really hard, because that left me with a very small list of items that I could eat, and I'm not sure if it actually helped at all. But anyway, I'll leave a link as well down below about a bit more about a low oxalate diet, and also where I found the information about it. I started taking some magnesium tablets. I think these really helped, magnesium tablets. I was taking 2 a day. I'm still taking them 2 a day, and they are about 500 micrograms. Two tablets. They are equivalent to 500 micrograms. So I was taking about 500 micrograms daily. And the magnesium is really good for your nervous system. And like I said in the beginning, one of the things I've noticed was that when I was feeling anxious and stressed, that's when the symptoms were getting worse. So the magnesium tablets really help you to balance out your nervous system. So I really felt that it really helped me. And also I found information online advising for taking magnesium for vulvodynia. I started taking B6 vitamin. Again, that's another vitamin for the nervous system. I started taking multivitamins that included B12, another vitamin that helps balancing out the nervous system. In those multivitamins I was taking, there was also vitamin D3 included, which I think is also beneficial. And a part of these vitamins, I had, how do you call it, a naturopath who gave me some CBD oil for me to actually apply down there. And I have to say, the first time that I applied, that I used the CBD oil, it was like I was in heaven, because it was the only thing that gave me some sort of relief for so long, after 3 months of being in constant burning, or every day, all day. Putting the CBD oil was the only thing that really gave me some sort of relief, and it was just so good. And the CBD oil that this naturopath gave me had some tea tree oil in it, argan oil. So he gave me just a little pot, a little jar that I used it really fast. So after that, I've decided to start making my own, and I started making my own. I looked for some recipes online, and I've used tea tree oil, argan oil, and obviously CBD with olive oil as well. And I didn't put too much, just a little bit, because obviously you have to be careful about giving yourself further infections. So a little bit goes a long way. I also put some organic argan oil, and sometimes when I was not using the CBD oil, I would also just use like 1 or 2 drops of argan oil, and that also I felt that it really helped. Other thing that I have also done was I started watching highly rated adult videos, and that was just because obviously, you know, when you have those symptoms, as you probably know, the last thing you can think about is having, I don't know if I can say the word, because I don't want YouTube to censor my video, but being intimate with your partner, with anyone, is the last thing that comes to your mind, and you are feeling that you probably will not ever be able to be intimate with anyone. So watching those videos really helped to get lubricated, and because that lubrication really helps in the blood circulation down there, because of the burning and the pain that you go through every day. You really tense up all the muscles down there, and that stops the blood flow going into there, so it makes actually the symptoms much worse. So when I really obliged myself to watch those videos, it really helped me to reactivate again the blood circulation there, to release a bit of tension there. And also during that time I was feeling like extremely dry, as if there is like the Sahara Desert in there. I don't think I was really dry, but I just think because I was so sensitive down there that it felt that I was really dry. So that also gave me some sort of relief watching it and feeling a little bit more lubricated. There really gave me some relief to the burning sensation and to the discomfort, and I felt that it really helped. So lastly, the thing that had the most impact was definitely acupuncture. So that's something that I also came across online, someone saying that they have done acupuncture and it really helped them with their vulvodynia. So I started going to acupuncture. That was in December, in end of December, and I have to say that with acupuncture you really have to be patient. At least that was my case. I didn't really feel like a huge difference in the first few sessions. However, it really helped. The first session really helped to make me feel more proactive, feeling that I had a bit more control, that I was doing something for my health, and that I was in charge of my own health. So it gave me that sort of light at the end of the tunnel where I felt that, this is something that I can do and it can help. And also each session really made me feel really relaxed. I also have to add that I had tried acupuncture before in the past and I didn't really like it, but I've decided to give it another go. I tried in the past for a different condition and I didn't like it because the practitioner at the time, it was awful. And I remember leaving the session feeling really anxious and stressed out when I done acupuncture before with a different practitioner. So I just wanted to say that finding the right practitioner is paramount to how successful the therapies are. So you have to really feel that you can trust the therapist, and you have to feel that you know what they are doing, and you have to feel comfortable with them. So if you go to acupuncture, a session with any sort of therapy, if something is off and if you feel that something is not right, don't give up on the therapy, because sometimes it might just be the therapist that is not really professional. So I was really happy to have found this one. It was really professional. He put me at ease straight away, and he told me exactly what he was going to do, and I trusted him. He was a male practitioner. And again, the first session I felt straight away much more relaxed. He gave me some advice on the sort of diet as well that I should follow. It was nothing strict, it was just some sort of guidelines. But I will also put a link there. Actually, let me just write a note. I will also put a link to the kind of diet he recommended me. And like I said, I didn't feel a change straight away. It took few sessions until I started feeling huge changes and improvements. So the first few sessions, really what happens is they are actually trying to get your body prepared. So what I felt that they, at least what it did, and I think that's what they do in acupuncture normally, they start in a very gentle manner. So that your body gets used with the needles and it gets used with electrical current as well. They at least my one, it didn't give me some I don't know how to explain that, but they actually put some sort of electrical devices in the needles, so it passes on to you some sort of electrical current. It didn't do that in the first sessions. The first sessions was just the needles, and then I think it was on the fourth or fifth session, that's when he introduced the electrical devices as well. So I felt that he was doing each session, he was kind of layering on top of each other. And when he started using the electrical current, that's when I really felt a huge difference and improvement on my symptoms. When he came to the 5th session, the practitioner told me that there was a point where if I was comfortable with having a needle there, he would put a needle there, and that would have a huge, it will make a huge difference in my healing. And that point, that acupuncture point, is a point that is between, in your perineum, I think I'm saying it correctly, but I will write it down as well on the description. So it's called a REN 1 point, and it's between the anus and your genitalia. And there is a point in the middle between those two that is called perineum. And he suggested he would put a needle in there, and that would help immensely. And obviously, when he told me that the first time, I was like, I mean, no way I'm gonna have a needle in there. It's just, no, it's not happening. He actually suggested that, he mentioned about that, I think on my 3rd or 4th session. And I was just like, no. But as the sessions went along and I started to trust him more and more, and I started to become more and more comfortable with him, and also desperate, because I was seeing that, time was going by and I was spending money on the sessions, and I could see improvement, but still I was still having loads of pain. So I was desperate, and it got to a point I was just told him, I said, you know what, after actually reading, he did tell me, he said, go home, read about that point, the REN 1 point, acupuncture point, read about other people's experiences, and then if you are open to it, we can try. I said, fine. I went home, I read about it, and I was convinced. So I went to another session and I told him, you know what, I'm ready to try that point. I'm desperate. I just want to get on with my life. If that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. And I was really nervous, I have to say, And I prepared myself before going to that session. I visualized that everything was going to be fine. And I just prepared myself mentally, psychologically. And then when I went to the session, I told him he could do it. And I have to say as well, again, by that time I was feeling really comfortable with him, and I also trusted him. So I think that's really important, that you can do something like that with someone that you trust, so that you feel more relaxed and confident in whatever is it that you are doing. And I did it. He put there a needle. He made me feel very comfortable. He put a needle in there, and I have to say, it wasn't really painful at all. I think it's just more the thought of having something be stick in there, of having a needle in that place that is so sensitive, is really like awful, is really mind-blowing. But the actual act, it was really fast, and obviously he knows what he was doing, and he has got lots of experience, so he did it very fast. I barely felt anything, so and I was a bit anxious, so I think we did twice. So we did on that session, and on that session I felt straight away a huge improvement. And then after that, most of my burning had gone. And then 1 week later I went back there again and I did one more session, and then after that session all of it went away, and I was just like, oh my god, this actually worked. I was just like, I don't know, I think for the few first weeks I was still a bit worried. I didn't want to celebrate. I was afraid of celebrating because, there was a time when I was just thinking that he's never going to get better. And so I was a bit scared. I was scared of celebrating and for it to then to come back again. So I waited a couple of weeks until I was like, okay, it's been a couple of weeks and the symptoms have not come back. So I think that's it. I think I am healed. So I was really happy, really, really happy. So that is my journey. And I carried on taking my supplements. I'm still taking my supplements. The only thing that I have ditched was the low oxalate diet, because I really felt that it was not really doing anything for me. But everything else, I kept on doing it. Also, I have to say that after all of that, after the sessions and after I have healed myself, weeks later, I start noticing that the pain that I was feeling down there, it actually now had traveled to my lower back, sort of my tailbone, my coccyx. So I start doing some research, and after some research, I came to the conclusion that my issue there is a huge chance that my issue, what caused the vulvodynia in the first place, was actually a lower back issue. That's another story, and I probably will put another video about that. But just very summarized, because I don't want to drag myself for too long. But I did have, before the vulvodynia started, I did have an issue with a fibroid. Last year, I was pregnant, and when I was pregnant, they found I had a big fibroid, the size of a grapefruit. Unfortunately, I went through a very traumatic experience. I went into preterm labor at 5 months, and I lost a baby, and it was just awful. So that's one of the reasons I think it was the fibroid, because the fibroid was quite big, and I had other pregnancy complications. So that was in May last year. And it took me a long time to recover mentally and physically from that traumatic event. And then in October, that's when the vulvodynia started. And in October, I was still dealing with fibroid issues. So what I think happened is, because the fibroid I had was quite big, I think, and it was compressing some of my organs, like the bladder and one of my kidneys. I think he also, it was very close. I also could see on the MRI I did, it was quite close to my spine. So I think the fibroid, because it was quite big. Oh, for those of you who don't know what a fibroid is a benign tumor in your uterus. So that's what I had, a benign tumor in my uterus. So the fibroid was compressing some of the organs, and it was touching almost touching my spine. So what I think happened is that probably the pregnancy and the fibroid, that caused some damage in my lower back, in my prudential nerve. And again, I will put a link with more information about prudential nerve. Because when I start researching about it, about lower back pain and vulvodynia, I came across that prudential nerve entrapment, prudential nerve damage, and all the symptoms for prudential nerve are the same symptoms I had for vulvodynia. So I think that's what really happened. So after as well, just a month ago, I had a surgery to remove the fibroid. And after the fibroid was removed, again, by then I already didn't have any symptoms, burning symptoms, just sometimes very slightly. But after the surgery, it was even better after I removed the fibroid. And what remained was some lower back pain that at the moment I still, it's not really that much of a pain, but it's more of a discomfort, more of a soreness, a little burning sensation, just a little bit, just on my tailbone, and which I notice mostly when I am sitting for long periods of time. And yes, so I am now trying to solve that issue with the lower back pain, but again, much better. Nothing compared to the symptoms of the vulvodynia at all. So I can make another video as well on how I've been dealing with the possible prudential tailbone pain, prudential nerve. So I think that was my issue, the fibroid that caused prudential nerve damage, and also chemical trauma, because obviously when in the beginning, like I was saying, when I start with the burning sensation and I thought I had an infection, and I start using loads of things down there, and I think that made things worse, and then I inflicted myself a chemical trauma with using the apple cider vinegar and using other gels and stuff down there. So, I think it was all together, but I really feel that the supplements I took really helped me to recover, helped to heal the nerves, the B6, B12, and magnesium. And also, I took some, what's it called? I forgot the name, collagen. I started taking some collagen as well, marine collagen. I will also put a link for the collagen I was taking. And I also have to say, I'll put a link for some of these things, but I'm not getting any money from those links I will put. I'm not getting anything. So I just want to share that information with other people that might be going through the same situation as I did, because it can feel really lonely, and I really wish, I don't wish this to my worst enemy, and I really hope that everyone can find a bit clarity on whatever is going on for them, and hopefully I'm hoping that this information might help other people as well, because also a lot of this information is from time, hours and hours that I've spent researching. So if this could help cutting down on amount of time you have to research, then I'm glad. So yeah, I took collagen as well, and collagen, probably some of you know, helps to restore the skin, heal the skin. So I think the collagen helped. And yes, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think I've got anything else to mention, and I'm actually pretty tired right now, because again it's still quite emotional for me to talk about all of these. But yes, so I will then do another video on my experience with fibroids and what happened, and how was my surgery as well. And if you have got any questions as well, please do ask me questions, and when I have time to reply, I will happily reply to them as well. And again, I hope this was helpful, and just have to say, do not give up, even when you feel that there is no one that can help you, keep going. I'm sure you'll find someone that is a good professional and that is going to be able to help you. Just keep looking for it, keep looking for answers. Don't let yourself be, how do I say, don't let yourself down just with a diagnosis, just because someone tells you, diagnoses you of something or puts you a label. Don't just stay there. Keep looking for more answers, keep fighting, and you will find a way. There is always a way if you don't give up. Keep fighting. And sometimes it might look like there's eternity, but you know, the healing might just be around the corner, and when you less know it, it will all be gone and you will be happy and you will have a healthy life. So keep safe, keep yourself surrounded with positive things as much as possible, and take some time to sit down and to reflect on what are the things that help you to keep yourself positive and help keeping yourself motivated as well. So I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to connect again. Take care. Bye bye.